January 5th, 1907, page 143. We finally contended with the cook again tonight when she arrived home with her rummy. But I was not prepared for how Mr. Soper planned to speak to Mary. His actions confused and disturbed me. I don't know what to think about his behavior. We watched them pull up in the carriage, get out, and hurry upstairs. Mr. Soper gave them time to settle in, and we proceeded after them. From the hall we could smell meat frying, and the smell got stronger as we ascended, and we could hear the cooking noises coming from the door. Mr. Soper and I exchanged glances. If she's cooking, she may have a weapon handy, but her nearness spurred us on. He knocked and stepped back, and the dog yipped and scratched his nails at the door. And when Mary called out, Mr. Soper introduced us by name only, and then he simply wished to talk with her for a moment. The door flew open, and she eyed us. She had a cooking fork in her hand. The little dog pushed his fluffy black head around her legs and growled at us. "How'd you find me?" was her first question. Mr. Soper paled. I could see the truth on his tongue, which he didn't want to tell. I felt myself holding my breath. From inside, the rummy called out, "Who is it, darlin'?" And Mary turned to him, opening the door a little wider. The dog ran out and scratched at our feet, and the rummy saw us and blanched. He called the animal, and they disappeared into the apartment, a bit of which I could see. A surprising chaos of rags and dirt, so different from the starched whiteness of her collar. "Yous followed me here, didn't ye?" Mary said, entering the hall with us and closing the door behind her. She looked straight at me in disgust. Mr. Soper said he thought that she would appreciate speaking to him in the privacy of her own home rather than her place of work. "A sneak, that's what you are," Mary said, "following me." The way she tapped the long cooking fork against the door frame gave me a rubbery feeling in my lower half. "I honestly do not mean to be sneaky, ma'am," Mr. Soper replied gently. "I just wish to talk to you, to explain to you how important it is to take these tests we spoke of, if you had agreed in the first place." "You say I'm dirty? That's all I've been hearing since I got on Ellis Isle. The dirty Irish." She pointed her fork and ranted. Her anger seemed to gain her a few inches in stature. "Dirty Irish, carrying disease. Well, I'm sick of it, 'cause it ain't true. I wash my hands always. I use the freshest goods. I never make anyone sick of my cooking. Alls I ever do is nurse those people, and that ain't even my job. If I were so dirty, all of you wouldn't hire me in the first place. So be gone with your diseases and your tests." I was ready to leave right then and find another way to convince her to come into the office, but Mr. Soper didn't give up so easily. "I'm not accusing you of anything, ma'am," he said, holding up his hand to Mary's fork. "I'm a scientific man, and I go only on the sciences. And I believe that it is scientifically proven that a healthy person can possibly carry germs inside them, harmful germs that are invisible to them, but which a test will prove exist. If only you'll come into the office, we can give you a simple test, and you'll be on your way," he said. "And who's in charge of these tests?" she asked, squinting with both of her eyes in that dim hall. She asked, squinting at both of us in that dim hall. "Well, the department will administer the test, and they can say anything they damn well please. Isn't it right?" "Of course not, Miss Mallon. They'll give an honest testing." "I don't see why you're after me, why you don't leave me alone. I've never done nothing to nobody. I just want to work so leave me in peace," she cried. She was becoming quite agitated, pointing her fork again. "My God, woman, I've had enough." Mr. Soper raised his voice at her. I looked at his blotched face, astonished at the sudden change in him. He shouted, "You have forced me into it. I have the police guard waiting at the ready, and if you don't come with me right now, I'll have him take you like a criminal." "Police!" Mary shouted. "Yes, police. You're sickening people. You're killing people with your cooking, and you won't stop. You're a stubborn woman, and you've left me no choice." He came right out and accused her and insulted her, threatened to have the police arrest her. Were they really waiting downstairs? Was this the way we were to treat her? "You get the police," she cried. "Go on, get your nose, get on, you nosy bloodsucker. I ain't done nothing wrong." She raised her fork and shouted something I didn't understand as Mr. Soper turned and pushed me ahead of him. The fork clattered over our heads and we ran down the stairs, and I could hear the crazed woman hollering above. We reached the street, no policeman there, and Mr. Soper in such an agitation as I've never seen before. Never seen. In his eyes, unusually animated, his face was a ghostly white, and I feared something might be wrong with him. I wondered about all the time he spent studying the case. First the bribe, now the lie about the police guard. Was it a lie, or did he have some plan he wasn't telling me? I felt useless, as if I hadn't been doing my job. Hadn't been reading the notes. I missed some very important information. I spent the whole ride home abashed and fuming at myself, and at Mary, and at the confusion I felt again at this case. Mr. Soper had come straight out and called Mary a killer. Her words echoed in my ears. Dirty Irish. What is that? Is that what Mr. Soper really thinks of her?